The sweet song of the sirens. A hypnotic melody, capable of seducing anyone bold enough to listen. It's said their voices are so enchanting that even the most seasoned sailor can't resist. But what many don't realize is that behind this apparent sweetness hides something deeply sinister. These mysterious beings have long been portrayed as mesmerizing creatures, but are they truly just beautiful women of the sea, or something far more terrifying? Countless legends throughout history recount deadly encounters with these marine entities. From ancient seafarers' tales to modern-day stories, accounts speak of alluring beings emerging from the waters only to drag their victims into the deep. But what makes these figures so universal across cultures worldwide? Where did this myth originate? And more importantly, what if it isn't just a myth? The ancient Greeks were the first to document the existence of these beings. Contrary to the image popularized over time, the earliest sirens weren't aquatic, they were half-woman, half-bird hybrids. Living on rocky islands, they used their songs to lure ships toward destruction. Over the centuries, outside influences gradually transformed them into the aquatic figures we recognize today. Yet, something dark threads through all these tales, a recurring theme of death and tragedy. Every time a siren appears, disaster follows. Some believe they're mere harbingers of doom, while others argue they directly cause shipwrecks and disappearances. But are all sirens truly evil? Or is there something even darker hidden behind these myths? In more recent centuries, various reported sightings of so-called sirens have surfaced from fishermen and travelers. Some described them as stunning women with flowing hair and silky skin. Others claimed they were monstrous, with black eyes and razor-sharp teeth. This duality brings forth an even more chilling thought. What if sirens were never just one thing? What if different kinds existed, some seductive, others relentless predators? Perhaps the most unsettling question is this: what really lies beneath the ocean's surface? With over 80% of Earth's waters still unexplored, who's to say these beings aren't real? Could they be mere figments of human imagination, or something real, lurking below, waiting for the perfect moment to rise? Since the earliest times, sirens have haunted human imagination. They didn't suddenly emerge as alluring sea creatures overnight. Their true origin is far older, and more disturbing, than most people realize. Before becoming shimmering-tailed beauties, they were feared as hybrid beings inhabiting cursed islands and directly linked to death. So what changed? How did their image evolve so drastically through the ages? In Greek mythology, sirens were depicted as part woman, part bird. Unlike today's version, they didn't dwell in the sea but on cliffs by the shore, waiting for prey. Their songs didn't just attract sailors, they entranced them, stripping them of control, leading ships to crash against jagged rocks. To the Greeks, these beings weren't symbols of beauty, they were omens of destruction. The most famous story involving sirens in ancient Greece appears in Homer's Odyssey. On his voyage, Odysseus was warned about the peril these creatures posed. To protect his crew from falling under their deadly spell, he made a drastic choice. He ordered his men to plug their ears with wax and had himself tied to the mast of the ship, ensuring he couldn't follow the siren's irresistible call, even if he wanted to. That's how he became one of the few to hear the siren's song and live to tell the tale. But as the centuries passed, something strange began to happen. When the Romans inherited Greek myths, the sirens began to change form. Their image blended with that of sea deities and other aquatic beings from different cultures. Slowly, the idea of the siren as half woman, half fish started gaining ground. But why the transformation? Was it simply a misinterpretation, or perhaps an intentional attempt to soften something once viewed as monstrous? This shift in appearance had a direct impact on how sirens came to be portrayed. Once feared as harbingers of doom, they were now seen as mysterious, even alluring. However, not all cultures embraced this gentler version. In many places around the world, tales still persist of sirens dragging victims to watery graves, condemning them to a fate worse than death. What's undeniable is that regardless of their appearance or the version told in each culture, sirens have always symbolized the fear of the unknown. Their song, their presence, and their mystery continue to haunt those who dare venture into uncharted waters. But what do we truly know about them? Were they simply myths crafted to explain shipwrecks, or is there a sliver of truth in these enduring legends? Sirens are not exclusive to Greek mythology. Across the globe, countless stories tell of mysterious beings dwelling in oceans, lakes, and rivers, forever luring humans toward uncertain destinies. Perhaps most unsettling is that despite cultural differences, these legends all follow a familiar pattern: a captivating female figure, an irresistible voice, and a tragic ending. How did societies with no contact share such eerily similar stories? In Norse mythology, there were the Havru, sea entities described as beautiful women rising from the depths to seduce fishermen. Yet, unlike romanticized versions, they were seen as unpredictable. Some helped stranded sailors, while others pulled them beneath the waves without a trace. In Scotland, the Selkies appeared, seal-like beings that turned human by shedding their skin. Legends say that those who stole a Selkie's skin could trap them in human form. But sooner or later, they always found their way back to the sea. West Africa tells of a far more feared figure, Mami Wata. Revered as a water goddess, she possesses seductive beauty and hypnotic powers. In some accounts, she grants wealth and blessings to those who honor her. In others, she lures men into the depths, where they vanish forever. Her legend has spread across regions, and even today, many claim to have felt her presence in rivers and lakes. In Japan, a very different version of mermaids is known as the ninjyo. Far from beautiful, they're grotesque beings with bulging eyes, sharp teeth, and distorted features. According to folklore, those who ate their flesh would gain immortality, but at a steep price, a life filled with suffering. Some tales speak of fishermen cursed after capturing a ninjyo, doomed to endure endless storms and unexplained misfortunes. Even Brazilian folklore keeps the myth alive through Aira, the Lady of the Waters. Unlike more sinister versions, Aira is portrayed as a stunning woman who lures men to the rivers. Those who follow her fall into a trance, and are never seen again. Some believe she drowns them, while others say they live beneath the water, stripped of memory and past life. These legends make one thing clear: the myth of the siren transcends cultures and time periods. But if they're merely fabrications, why do so many cultures tell such similar tales? Are we simply projecting our fears onto the unknown, or could there be something real, hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered? Mermaids have always been portrayed with a haunting duality. On one side, they are seen as magical, enigmatic, even romantic beings. On the other, they're depicted as cunning predators, seducing and destroying without remorse. But which of these versions is the truth? Are they guardians of the waters, or ruthless killers of the deep? The image of the kind-hearted mermaid was widely spread by modern culture. Stories like The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen helped cement the idea of a creature willing to give up everything for human love. But the original tale is far more tragic than the version told by Disney. In Andersen's story, the mermaid suffers excruciating pain every time she walks, is rejected by the man she loves, and ultimately dissolves into sea foam. The message wasn't about a happy ending, it was a cruel lesson about the cost of denying one's nature. On the other hand, the darker side of mermaids has always been present in folklore. Ancient accounts describe encounters with these beings as omens of disaster. Sailors who spotted mermaids on the horizon knew death was near. Some even claimed they did more than lure men to sea, they fed on them. Were these just metaphors for the ocean's perils, or chilling hints of something far more horrifying? Some stories tell of mermaids who didn't need to sing to trap their prey. Instead, they appeared from afar pretending to be in danger. When a man rushed to help, it was already too late. In several cultures, mermaids are said to have razor-sharp claws and predatory teeth hidden behind a beguiling facade. And once a victim was under their control, there was no escape. In Haiti, there's a belief in mermaids known as Lazarin, who can capture people and drag them into the depths. But they don't always kill. Some victims return years later, changed, empty-eyed, and with no memory of their past. Had they been transformed, or did they lose their souls in the watery realm? With so many accounts, the question remains, are mermaids just myths, or is there truth buried in these legends? And if they are real, are they watching us even now, waiting for the right moment to resurface? Throughout history, many have dismissed mermaids as fiction. Yet records and testimonies from sailors, fishermen, and explorers suggest otherwise. Some describe hypnotically beautiful beings with flowing hair and piercing eyes. Others recall terrifying creatures with sharp teeth, claws, and monstrous features. Are these sightings just mistakes, or signs of something real lurking in the deep? One of the earliest documented encounters came from Christopher Columbus himself. During his 1493 voyage to the Americas, he wrote in his journal that he saw 3 figures rise from the Caribbean waters. But his description was unsettling. The creatures had distorted, almost grotesque faces, far from the charming legends. Was it a trick of the mist, fatigue, or a glimpse into the unknown? In the 19th century, an even more baffling case occurred in Scotland. In 1830, fishermen from the Isle of Benbecula reported seeing a humanoid figure in the water, with a woman's torso and a scaly lower body. When they tried to catch it, the creature dove away. Days later, a similar body washed ashore. Locals, fearing the wrath of the sea, gave it a proper burial in a solemn ritual. More recently, in 2012, something strange unfolded in Zimbabwe. Construction workers claimed they were attacked by an unknown entity while working on a dam. The fear among them was so overwhelming that the entire project came to a halt. Authorities, taking the report seriously, brought in spiritual leaders in an attempt to calm the situation. Unlike many cases that are dismissed as superstition, this incident was taken seriously, even by the government, adding to the enigma surrounding the event. In today's digital age, videos and photos of alleged mermaid sightings regularly appear online. While many are easily debunked hoaxes, a few remain unexplained. In 2009, a group of tourists in Israel claimed to have seen a humanoid figure swimming and moving in strange, unnatural ways before vanishing beneath the waves. The incident caused such a stir that local authorities offered a reward for definitive proof of the creature's existence. To this day, no conclusive evidence has ever surfaced. Given so many accounts across centuries, the question lingers: are we dealing with illusions, coincidences, or is something truly hidden within the oceans, challenging what we believe is possible? The mermaid myth isn't exclusive to one culture. Across the globe, stories persist about mysterious beings that dwell in lakes, rivers, and seas, creatures that directly impact human fate. But what do all these figures have in common? Are they simply regional variations of the same phenomenon, or clues pointing towards something that has always lurked beneath the surface? In Slavic mythology, the rusalka are female spirits that haunt rivers and lakes. Unlike the more romanticized version of mermaids, these beings are often described as the souls of women who died tragically in water. Some tales depict them as vengeful, luring people to their deaths. Others portray them as protectors of sacred waters, punishing only those who disrespect their domain. In Japan, the ninjyo are far stranger. These aquatic entities have partially human features, but their appearance is eerie and unsettling. Fishermen once avoided catching them at all costs, believing it would bring untold calamity. Some legends claim that consuming the flesh of a ninjyo grants eternal life, but at the expense of endless misery and cursed existence. Brazil offers its own aquatic legend, Aira, the mesmerizing lady of the waters. Her myth shares traits with the ancient Greek sirens, bewitching beauty and a voice no one can resist. Those who hear her song are drawn into the river, never to return. Some say she drowns her victims. Others suggest they continue to live beneath the surface, having forgotten their past lives entirely. Then there's the Kelpie, a haunting figure from Celtic folklore. While not exactly a mermaid, the Kelpie follows a similar dark pattern. It's a shapeshifter, often appearing as a horse, or a human, luring unsuspecting travelers into Scotland's deep lakes, where they're dragged below and devoured without trace. Faced with such consistent myths from unconnected civilizations, one unsettling question arises: how did such similar legends emerge in cultures that never had contact with one another? Could they simply reflect an ancient fear of deep waters, or do they hint at a greater truth hidden beneath the waves? Regardless of the answer, one thing remains undeniable: the fascination and fear surrounding mermaids is as strong as ever. But why? Since ancient times, shipwrecks and maritime tragedies have often been linked to supernatural forces. For early seafarers, the sea wasn't just a vast unknown, it was a realm ruled by beings who could determine life or death. In many traditions, mermaids were blamed for catastrophic storms and strange disappearances. But how much of this fear was myth, and how much might have been rooted in reality? In Greek mythology, mermaids were described as entities that hypnotized sailors with their songs, causing them to lose control of their vessels and crash into rocks. Many scholars suggest that these myths may be metaphors for the real dangers of the sea, such as treacherous currents and unpredictable storms. However, what if these accounts had some basis in reality? Similar legends have emerged in various parts of the world. Some African tribes tell stories of aquatic beings that drag fishermen to the bottom of the river, while in the Philippines, there are reports of marine spirits that cause boats to sink when they approach certain regions. In every corner of the planet, different versions arise of creatures that inhabit the waters and pose a silent threat to humans. The Bermuda Triangle, one of the greatest enigmas in maritime history, also fuels these theories. Over the centuries, countless ships and planes have vanished without a trace. Scientists point to natural explanations, such as magnetic anomalies and methane gas bubbles, but many believe that the region hides something beyond science. Some versions suggest that unknown forces, perhaps even marine entities, are responsible for confusing sailors and making them disappear forever into the ocean. Modern reports reinforce this mystery. Entire crews claim to have heard enigmatic sounds on the radio, seen unusual lights over the water, or felt the compass spin inexplicably before disappearances. Are these just technical failures and natural phenomena, or evidence of something humanity has yet to understand? Whether superstition or truth, the fear of mermaids and their supposed link to maritime tragedies remains alive. The sea continues to be a realm of unfathomable mysteries, and perhaps some of these stories contain more reality than we imagine. The image of mermaids has evolved drastically over the centuries but has never lost its strength. On the contrary, their presence in popular culture has only expanded, becoming established in cinema, literature, and even music. These figures continue to enchant and terrify, proving that the mystery surrounding them has never dissipated. One of the most well-known versions emerged with The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen and was immortalized by the Disney animation. However, the adaptation softened the story, turning it into a romantic tale, quite different from the original version, where the protagonist suffers deeply and meets a tragic fate. This type of reinterpretation helps solidify the image of mermaids as charming and harmless beings. On the other hand, pop culture has also rescued their darker side. In Pirates of the Caribbean, on Stranger Tides, these creatures returned as lethal predators, luring sailors only to devour them. In the series Siren, they were portrayed as violent and highly intelligent beings, far from the infantilized view popularized in recent decades. In video games, mermaids take on even more terrifying forms. In The Witcher 3, they appear as deadly enemies that mercilessly attack ships. In Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, there are subtle references to maritime legends, suggesting enigmatic encounters with these beings and blending reality and fantasy in an intriguing way. In music, the myth also holds strong influence. The idea of a hypnotic voice that can lead to ruin is a powerful metaphor, often used in songs about seduction and tragedy. Many artists over the decades have incorporated this symbolism into melancholic and enigmatic lyrics. Whatever the medium, one thing is certain: mermaids remain alive in the collective imagination. But is this obsession with them merely a product of human fantasy, or does it conceal an ancestral fear that we have yet to fully comprehend? With all the advancements in science, could something as extraordinary as mermaids still exist? Many scholars argue that reports of such beings can be explained by natural phenomena or even by the way the human brain interprets the unknown. But is that enough to dismiss centuries of testimonies? One of the most widely accepted hypotheses for mermaid sightings is the confusion with marine animals. Manatees, dugongs, and other aquatic species can, under certain lighting and distance conditions, appear humanoid. Especially in ancient times, when sailors spent months at sea, fatigue and sensory deprivation could lead to distorted perceptions of reality. In addition, the ocean itself can be responsible for visual illusions. Light reflections on water, moving shadows, and submerged shapes create images that can easily deceive the human mind. Studies show that the brain has a natural tendency to recognize familiar patterns in abstract forms, a phenomenon known as pareidolia, the same that makes us see faces in everyday objects. Another intriguing element is the strange sounds coming from the depths of the sea. Some noises captured by scientific equipment defy explanation, like the mysterious bloop recorded in 1997. Although many experts believe its source is related to iceberg movements, there are those who argue that such unexplained sounds may have contributed to legends about eerie ocean songs. Yet, despite all these explanations, we still know very little about the deep sea. More than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored, and new species are constantly being discovered. Could it be possible that something resembling mermaids inhabits these unknown regions? Although no solid evidence has been found to date, science also cannot claim with absolute certainty that such creatures do not exist. As long as the ocean remains one of the planet's greatest mysteries, there will always be room for doubt, and for the possibility that some legends hold more truth than we imagine. After examining myths, historical records, scientific interpretations, and the presence of mermaids in pop culture, the big question remains: are these beings purely creations of the human imagination, or is there something real behind these stories? If we look at mythology, it becomes clear that mermaid-like figures appear in cultures around the globe, separated by great distances and with no contact between them. This suggests that something inspired these legends. Perhaps they were simply misidentified marine animals, or maybe they were records of encounters with something that has since been lost to time. Modern accounts also raise questions. Many can be attributed to misperception or even hoaxes, but some cases remain unexplained. In certain regions of the Caribbean and Africa, fishermen still insist that such entities are real, and that their presence can influence fishing or even cause disasters. Is it just superstition, or could there be an unknown foundation for these beliefs? Science offers us rational explanations, but also admits that much of the ocean is still a mystery. If new marine species continue to be found, who can truly say that all forms of sea life have been catalogued? Nature has a history of surprising humanity, and the secrets hidden in the depths might be far greater than we realize. In the end, the truth about mermaids remains wrapped in mystery. Are they mere creations to justify shipwrecks and unexplained events, or is something still hidden in the ocean, waiting to be uncovered? The answer remains elusive, but one thing is certain: the fascination and fear that these beings inspire continue to endure, surviving through the centuries without fading. More captivating legends are coming, make sure to follow.